All right, everybody. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you had a good Lord's Day and all of that kind of thing. Let's jump right into it because we got a lot to get to. Now, this may or may not be the last Owen video. I think it's going to be, but I might have to cut this short, so we'll see what happens. I don't think things are getting better before they get worse. I saw Owen's little tirades over the weekend, and then I saw even Josh Bice get involved, interacting with John Harris. And, it just highlights the need that we need to talk it out like brothers, because from Josh's perspective, things are exactly the opposite of what they are in reality. Like, it's just like, from his perspective, we started treating G3 like enemies, and that's how this whole thing started. When in reality, and this is all on record, you can go back on Twitter and find this, it's still on their website. They started producing articles just, really lying about what Christian nationalism is, and then they started calling us racist and white nationalists and ethnocentralists and kinists and all this kind of stuff. And that's all just false. They called us these names that are designed to destroy your life. They're designed to destroy your reputation. They're designed to destroy your influence. You get labeled a racist in our culture, and you could lose your job, you could lose your family, all this kind of stuff. So they started doing this really just messed up stuff, and we started responding, not really even trying to destroy them in any way. We weren't responding in kind. We were responding with laughs and things like that. And it just highlights how much we need to talk this out. They need to get Stephen Wolf on the show. They need to get some of these guys on the show, William Wolf, all these guys, because we need to get on the same page somehow. It would be really nice, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully, I mean, Josh seemed to say that maybe he would talk to some people, give him the benefit of the doubt that he's really telling the truth here. But I just, it just highlights how important it is to talk it out like brothers instead of shrieking like liberals immediately, which is essentially what happened and is what's happening here with these Owen tweets. Let's jump into it today, and we will go from there.
And then he says, cry me a river, and he has some strong words for Owen, you self-righteous liberal. I can share the gospel of Jesus Christ and fight against the evils of ethnic cleansing, which you apparently think is not a problem. At the same time, weak men like you are why we are in the position we are in. Strong men like me are how we will get out of it. Keep my name out of your mouth. Now, that is provocative.
Yeah, that's definitely provocative. If you followed Andrew Torba for any amount of time, it's nothing out of the ordinary necessarily, but and I wonder if he meant like classical liberal. Keep my name out of your mouth, you liberal. He probably meant classical liberal. That's what I think. The classical liberals. They're like the more respectable ones, but they're all liberals to me, so it doesn't really make a difference to me. But the classical liberals, that's the one that is like, oh, I'm a classical liberal. The first time I ever heard that term was it used in like, I've heard it prior to this, but used in like everyday speech was Sargon of Akkad. And then he invented a new term. He was a liberalist. That didn't go very well. The liberalists. I like Sargon of Akkad. I don't really have a problem with him. He's an atheist, though. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't recommend you go listen to him on everything. But anyway, so let's continue. Yeah, Andrew Torba, obviously, a little bit perturbed, and the tweet shows that he was.
I would not have said that, I don't think. But that being said,
John definitely wouldn't have said it. That's for sure. And I don't know if I would have said it either. I mean, I like when things like this happen. I really either choose two options. I either joke about it or I just ignore it. You know what I mean? I don't really respond too seriously with things like this, where someone's just scolding me like a liberal. You know what I mean? I'll laugh about it. Maybe I'll put a Ukrainian flag or something like that, or maybe I'll say something like, "Oh, where are your pronouns?" Yeah, you really should. It's false advertising. You need to put your pronouns in the bio, Owen. I would say something like that. But hey, listen, me and Andrew are different people. And I'm not saying this is terrible or wrong or anything like that. It's just we're different people.
What Owen accused Andrew of is far worse than what Andrew's saying to Owen, actually, if you think about it.
Yeah, obviously, and I've noticed this. This is common with Big Eva and also now G3. They'll say something really strong, like you're a wolf, or you're wolf-like, or you're an unbeliever, or you're a kinnish, or you don't know the gospel. These are like hard accusations, right? They're designed to destroy your reputation. And then you respond with, "Hey, that's so effeminate." why you talking like a liberal? You know what I mean? And it's like, in comparison, like, that's a much less weighty accusation. Okay, I'm a classical liberal. Who cares? You know what I mean? That kind of thing. I mean, for a guy like me, of course, that's a weighty accusation. But for most people, not a big deal. You know, someone finds out you're a liberal, you're not going to lose your job. You know what I mean? Someone, oh, I'm a classical liberal. I lost my job for being a classical liberal. No one, that's not going to happen, right? But so in comparison, it's like he responded. Sure, you know, he used some choice words, but the actual accusations are not even close to what Owen said. And then you'll get scolded for that. Like, you're the problem. And this happened in Big Evil Wars Part 1, and it's happening again, where the sense of proportion is just absolutely out of whack. It's out of balance. Like, these people are making mountains out of molehills. Meanwhile, they're crushing you with mountains, or at least attempting to. It's just very interesting. It always reminded me in Big Evil Wars 1.0 of the overreaction that David had about the guy who killed the lamb. Remember the story when Samuel confronts him about Bathsheba, and he gets all indignant about this lamb. Meanwhile, he just killed somebody. He just had somebody killed so he could have sex with his wife. That was like, it's an overreaction, and the overreaction came from a guilty conscience. I often wonder about that when it comes to Big Eva's overreaction. And sadly, now I wonder about this G3 stuff, if these overreactions are due to, you know, kind of knowing that they're doing the bidding of MSNBC and MSN and stuff like that. And I don't think that a lot of these guys are doing it intentionally, like, oh, yeah, I want to go serve MSNBC today. It's not really like that. It's more like they're doing it, they think it's right, and somehow they think that MSNBC's got this one right. And, like, it just so happens, I guess we're co-belligerents with MSNBC and CNN on this one. You know what I mean? So it's like, that must weigh on someone to know that these evil organizations are saying the same evil things, and you're approving their narrative. And by the way, we're going to get to this as well, because I saw an article by Doug Wilson about punching right. And there was some good stuff in that article, but there was some stuff that I disagree with Doug Wilson on. And it won't be the first time I've disagreed with Doug Wilson. I think I can do it in a respectful way. So I think I might, let me know if you'd want me to address some of that stuff in the Netter article that Doug Wilson put out about punching right. If you guys think you'd get value out of seeing me kind of dissect that a little bit, I'll do it. I'll do it on the Fight Laugh Feast Network. You know what I mean? That's the kind of guy I am. So there you go. There's some good stuff in it, but I didn't agree with all of it. But I think the point is, it's not that you don't criticize anyone on the right. That's not the point. The point is, you don't treat them like an enemy. You don't try to destroy them. And I think that Owen and company, G3, if I'm being really generous with them, they're not actually intentionally working for the enemy. I know some people in my audience think they are. I'm not so sure. But they are doing the same things that our enemies are doing. And in so doing, when they have a conference all about the dangers of white Christian nationalism, they see that MSNBC and the blue hairs and the pronouns in the bio are approving of it. And that's got to be uncomfortable. They're approving of this evil. And it's like, man, why are these evil people? Like, every position they take is evil. Why are they approving what I'm doing here? And it's got to weigh on someone. So I think you get these overreactions due to a sort of like a guilty conscience almost. A guilty conscience leads to these kinds of overreactions. Let's continue.
And the retort that Owen has to him. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have read this first, because Andrew's responding to this. This is what set Andrew off. Is Owen saying, Andrew, I pray you understand the true biblical gospel, which has nothing to do with your kinist message of ethnic preservation and propagation. I say this in love. You are promoting a false gospel, and you are leading many astray in doing so. Please repent and follow Christ. So I say this in love as I lie about you.
There it is. There it is. I say this in love as I lie about you. And it's not just a lie. It's a lie designed to destroy you. It won't work, but that's where it's aimed. And I've said this many times about myself when people lie about me, because the lies that people choose about me are the kind that are intended to destroy me, to destroy my reputation. And it's not going to work because, you know, providentially, God has really protected me and provided for me, a way to make a living that doesn't really rely on all this nonsense and things like that. And all of this kind of thing. But the thing is, the intent is there to destroy you. When Owen Strachan says you don't understand the gospel, I pray you learn it. Your false gospel of kinism and ethnic preservation. These are lies that are aimed at complete destruction. This is scorched earth. That's what Owen is going for. It's scorched earth. It's ruthless. Owen Strachan is ruthless. And so are the rest of his buddies. These guys are ruthless. When Virgil Walker writes an article about the ethnocentric or whatever it was he said, it was a very particular term, because I remember when he talked to me, he was very proud of that term because it avoided the accusation of racism. And from my perspective, it was like, it's the same thing, though. You just used a different term that just sounds extra scary, but you knew that if you called everybody racist, we'd be like, yeah, sure, like everything else is racist. So like, it was very conniving, very calculating, Virgil. It's really messed up when you think about it. It's actually worse. I'd rather you call someone racist. But when you do these things, the intent is complete scorched earth. It's complete destruction. That's what you're aiming for. And it's good to be honest about that. You know what I mean? It's good to be honest about that. And so the reality, and I'm honest about that. When I say that Jamar Tisby is a Marxist or a cultural Marxist or something like that, or socialist, yeah, I'm aiming for complete destruction. I want his influence to be ended. That's what I want. That's what I'm looking for. I don't want him to influence any more people. So these things, when you say he's a kinist, you say he doesn't understand, and you even say in the tweet, you don't want him, he's leading many astray, and he pray he stops, and so you're aiming for complete destruction, but they're lies. They're lies aimed at complete destruction. Andrew Torba is not a kinist. He isn't a kinist. Andrew Torba is not a kinist, and you called him one. Andrew Torba does not have a gospel of ethnic preservation, and you said he does. You said it in love. You put your pearls on, you put your dress on, and said, oh, in love I say this. This is the same thing that What's-His-Face used to do, that crazy half-black guy on Twitter. What was his name? Kyle Howard. He used to say everything in love as he viciously tore apart white people. For no reason, for no good reason. But he said it in love. He even put hearts in the only thing you're lacking is a couple of hearts in the heart emojis. You can't get away with slandering someone if you say it in love. It just doesn't work that way. It doesn't. And by the way, slandering is not attacking them. It's lying about them. There's lying required for slander, and that's actually going to come into play if I decide to go into these Josh Bice tweets at some point, because he made some accusations of slander that are just. They're just mind-boggling. You wonder if he even knows what the word means. I say it in love. It's just insane. Let's see what John has to say about it.
I don't try to understand, and that's I think one of the things I keep coming back to. That's one of the things this platform is built on, is trying to understand. And I see not enough of that out there. There's no attempt to understand here. It is just, let's construe these words in the worst possible way, and then let's just even add to them. Let's just call this a false gospel, even though Andrew's not bringing anything related to the gospel. It's such an astute point. I mean, John is a very, he's very smart. So he noticed, not only are you interpreting the words in the worst possible light, you don't have to do it because there's nothing in the context that makes this about interethnic marriage, which is what he's trying to make it about. There's nothing about that. You interpret them in the worst possible light, and then you add to it. Then you say he's a kinist. Then you say he's a false gospel. Then so these are sophisticated lies, is what they are. And again, you can make your determination: is Owen doing it intentionally? Has he been trained to do this, or is he just copying what he's seen? Like what's going on? I don't know what's going on, but it's pretty messed up. And every time Owen does this is the thing, right? Like Andrew Torba, he can deal with this. He's got, again, providentially, God has put him in a certain place. He can deal with this kind of stuff. It's not going to destroy him. It's aimed to destroy him, but it's not going to. But this is the thing I said during the first G3 dust up. Every time you do this to a guy like Andrew, or to a guy like me, or to a guy like Steven or John Harris or things like that, you have to understand that there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people that watch us, that like us, that hear what we have to say, that know that what you're saying is a lie, that you're also hitting with this.
and you're also going to and you're also going to be causing problems for. That's the real danger here, because there are regular people in the pews that are now going to be labeled kinist by you, that are going to their lives are going to be turned upside down. I used to get these stories in the first big evil wars of people's lives being turned upside down, people getting fired, people getting their families kicked out for nothing because they didn't want to go along with the socialist plans. They got kicked out of positions of church positions because they didn't want to be a socialist, because they were told they were racist if they weren't a socialist. And it's going to be the same thing here. They were lying about those people then, and you're lying about people now. So now there's going to be people losing their job because they're kinists, because they believe what? Not kinism, just something else. They're a Christian nationalist, so I guess they must be a kinist. They're a white nationalist. They're a Nazi. It's just sloppy, guys, and I don't know why you're doing it. You think you're just playing around. You're gonna insult Andrew Torba, but the thing is, there's a lot of Andrew Torbas out there that are also not kinists, that now you're labeling kinists, that you're going to destroy. You can't destroy Torba. You're just going to destroy regular people. You're going to destroy regular people's lives.
Into this at all. This is, you know, who needs to repent is Owen in this. Owen needs to apologize to Andrew, even if there's other problems with Andrew that he thinks Andrew has. In this one instance, he needs to apologize. And I am on firm ground in saying that. I mean, this is just not how we treat each other as believers. And maybe Owen doesn't think Andrew is a believer, but you need to at least try to provide some evidence for that. All right, so this got picked up by a bunch of leftists. A bunch of social justice warriors picked up Owens.
Yeah, social justice warriors are getting your back. Did you ever stop and take a second and think, why is this? Why are these people who don't get anyone's back, unless you're like doing woke stuff, why are they getting my back? These are the people that will interpret the most minute thing has nothing to do with hating black people and make it about hating black people. These are liars, these are manipulators, these are vicious people. They love destroying people's reputation. That's what they live for. That's what they get their jollies for. Why are they getting my back here? You ever stop and take 2 seconds and think about that? I'm saying the same things they're saying. The same things that a few years ago I knew were lies, and now I'm saying them, and now the social justice warriors are getting my back. Did they stop lying all of a sudden? Like, they were lying back then, but now they stopped lying, and now we're like friends in this? Yeah, you are friends because you're both lying. I mean, game recognizes game. They understand that you've got the language of a liar. They recognize that. All of a sudden you're speaking, devil. Guys, I don't believe the worst in you. I don't think that you're necessarily doing this on purpose or something like that, but you guys are confused. You're confused. You know this is not correct. You know that white nationalism is not the most looming threat out there. You know that. You know that, of course, and this is before and it's today. Yeah, sure, there are some white nationalists out there. But they're not hiding under every rock. They're not a threat to the church. But now you're saying they are a threat to the church, and all of the woke people are coming out of the woodwork to say, yeah, right on. You know why they're doing that, Owen? Because you're affirming their narrative. You're working in their system, and you're affirming it, and you're strengthening it. You're strengthening their storytelling, their lies. You are strengthening them. You might not be doing it intentionally, but you're doing it.
Thoughts, and so here's just a few examples. There's more, I'm sure. There's more probably coming in even now. You have this guy named Josiah Hawthorne, I looked at his Twitter feed just briefly, and I'm like, okay, this guy's kind of woke. He said, I'm cheering Owen Strachan on, me cheering for Owen. Say it again, Owen, say it louder. And then Kristen Dumez, Jesus and John Wayne author, says, I'd cheer him on if he hadn't blocked me. So you have Kristen Dumez, she wanting to cheer. This should give Owen some pause. Like, you are doing the same thing they're doing, and they love it. This guy named Ian Harbour said,
by the way, just because someone that has bad beliefs is cheering on what you're saying does not mean that what you're saying is wrong, right? It doesn't mean that at all. But what ends up happening, though, is that you have to look at the foundations here, and what are you attempting to do? And you're attempting to destroy the exact same people they're attempting to destroy. And you got to ask yourself, okay, does that mean I'm wrong? Well, no, not necessarily. Why am I doing it? And what am I doing? And is what I'm saying true? Is this narrative, is this perspective true that I'm pushing? And in Owen's case, it's just not. It's just not at all. I don't have a lot of time here. I got to get going in a minute. Let's just let John finish talking about the reaction here.
This is so funny to me. And I'm trying to remember who Ian works for, why I put this here. He works for, I think, Mere Orthodoxy or something, but or writes for them. But anyway, Owen said, excited to share this publicly, despite apparent confusion to the contrary, the savior of the Christian faith, is not Anglo-Saxon, etc. And Ian Harbour says, few know this. No, like everyone knows.
Is that true? Again, is that true? That rhetoric, is it true that very few people know that Jesus wasn't Anglo-Saxon and that he was actually Jewish? Because that's what Owen said. That's what Owen said. He said he's excited to share this publicly, and because a lot of people are out there, they think Jesus was white and not Jewish. And Ian, he says few know this. It's not true. Nobody thinks the opposite. But so why is Owen trying to make it seem like there's a lot of people out there? Why would Ian be doing that? I'll let you answer that question. I think you know why a guy like Ian would want to make it seem like there's very few people out there that know that Jesus wasn't actually white. It has to do with the narrative of white privilege and the white Jesus and all this kind of stuff that we all knew just about a year ago, and even Owen knew was a lie. That was a false narrative. There's very little people out there that think Jesus was white. I'm sure there's a few wackos, but very few. And now all of a sudden, Owen's narrative has flip-flopped.
Is it Ian? Anthony Bradley, Owen Strand, is being slandered by Christian nationalists as a liberal and a weak man for raising objections to their movement.
No, I don't really like Anthony Bradley either, but he's a bad example for this kind of thing because every other day, I mean, he's like bipolar on Twitter. Like every other day, he says something good and something awful. It's just like that's just how he is. Anyway, I gotta get going. I'm not sure if we'll do another one. We'll see. Let me know in the comments if you want more. If you want more Owen, let me know. I hope you found this video helpful. God bless.